Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, commodities, ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into these topics, deeper into the individual companies, share my opinions pretty freely. We do have a midweek update that I just released this morning that is active on the website. And we do have May Day, the coupon code that is still active as well. Let's dive in. Let's take a look and see what's going on today. We've got the DXY continuing to move higher. As expected, we've broken out of this falling wedge and are working our way up. So that looks good, and that looks like we could continue with the DXY slowly working its way on up against other currencies. 2-year yield is moving sideways, and we don't have a distinct breakout or anything like that. We're just consolidating sideways. We did enter this from the top side down, so we could fling to the downside here in the short term, which is definitely a possibility. 10-year yield up quite a bit. So we're down on the 2-year, up on the longer end of the curve. The 10 and the 30 are both up. And these both broke to the upside. Interesting break. Same with the 30, broken to the upside. So these are still consolidating in this squeezing up period. Same with the 10-year. Big squeeze going on here into a corner, and we'll have an eventual decision of which direction we are going. So 2-year a little bit lower, longer end of the curve up today. That would signify a inversion of the curve in terms of, well, I should say it's a bear steepener. The long end's going up and the short end is basically holding steady. TYX, TNX ratio slightly lower, with the 30-year going up slightly less than TNX, the 10-year. So that's still inverted. Gold and silver, no real change there. We've just been inverted this entire time. Bond price is down quite a bit today, down 1.44%, and we are back doing a retest perhaps of that upper trend line. I drew that upper trend line, I think, on the weekly here, and it still looks good to go higher. It still looks good to go higher. We'll see if that occurs or what that does in the medium term, short to medium term. Still looks good to go on up, which means yields could go down, and those are playing with each other. We have the 20-year looking like it wants to go up. We also have these yields here that are holding steady in the short term, breaking to the upside here. 2 and 10, big breakout downward of an uninversion of the yield curve, the bear steepener, and we've broken out of this rising wedge to the downside. And maybe we stay inverted for a long time, and this only goes down a little period here, but we've broken that to the downside, and we'll see how much follow through there is. Gold down $21, but we're still within this falling wedge pattern. It's still holding on. I know there's a lot of people calling for lower gold prices, as in down here, but I'm not in that camp until things break. I'm just enjoying the ride, and we'll see what occurs here. Silver also slightly lower. And again, I'm still bullish. We're right at support here, going across, and I cannot not be bullish with a longer term picture that looks like this. So sure, in the short term, we could get a pullback, and that's what we've been getting. But longer term, I remain bullish. And you could also extend this down. It could be a retest. Platinum up 4.4% today. Jeez, that's a big move. Still underneath the last resistance level, but this is sure looking good for a potential breakout, and one I am interested in watching here. Platinum is the one that I would be watching here for a potential break and a big move. When that outperforms, that generally indicates that a commodity bull market is underway. And then palladium down a little bit. We are still squeezing in this corner here against support and against some resistance that we've got going, squeezing into the corner there. Are we going to break downward or are we going to break upward? Don't know yet. We'll find out over the next few weeks, most likely. GDX moving sideways, but still above all of this trend line support, so I remain bullish. Up, 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 up is what my opinion is. GDXJ still in this flag pattern underneath resistance that we need to break for GDXJ. And then SILJ just moving sideways. We've broken out of this big old pattern there to the upside, and then we're flagging out in the short term downward in the downward sloping channel. XAU to gold ratio looks good to ramp higher. We're up 1.15%. Big bullish engulfing today. Looks pretty strong for a move higher, which means mining companies are going to outperform gold. This is an excellent, excellent, excellent opportunity to be looking at potential entry points in gold and silver mining companies. We've got crude oil down just slightly, down 0.24%, working its way on sideways. We've got a lot of support in this region there at about $80. But I do want to see this break 87. So we'll see what happens. We could be trading all over the place, but for the most part, we are sitting on top of a consolidation there. We're sitting on top of it. There are people who think that we are going to get a slowdown in the market. You know, the yield curve uninverts, et cetera, and this kind of dives down. Very well could do that. But then there's others that think we could rip it to the upside due to a variety of supply factors. Demand, supply, and the deficits. We'll see which direction we go here. TTF gas down a little bit. We've been tracking sideways here, and that's what we're still doing. We've got natural gas in America, a little bit of a larger selling pressure day. We'll see if there's any follow through. That is a bearish engulfing right at support. So we're right above support, and we'll see if there's any sort of downside pressure over the next couple trading sessions. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, down 1%. We've got the bullish engulfing here. A little bit of selling pressure still hanging out here. But we're right at the neckline, ready to rip. And that's what I'm looking for. OIH down 1.16%. But we've got some good momentum to the upside generated here. Small little down day, and we'll see if that momentum can carry us forward. We're looking for oil to firm up here. And also throw perhaps a trend line through here now. We've got a couple of contact points, and maybe we're up against resistance trying to break through here. Newcastle coal futures down 2.4%. But again, we've broken the downtrend line here. We could go sideways for a while or higher eventually, is what my expectations are. Breakout, retest. Physical Uranium Trust finally getting a little bit of buying pressure today, but momentum still to the downside. I'd like to see some stronger selling pressure, some green army candlesticks showing up is what I'm looking for. We just haven't gotten that yet. URA up 0.83% on support with the bullish engulfing. Does look like we could try to go higher here. That's good. Uranium also up 1.02%. We've got support underneath us, and that is a bullish piercing. We'll see if there's follow through tomorrow or over this next week. URNJ also up a little bit. That is a bullish piercing, and we'll see if we can get a bounce here and what that bounce looks like. Copper down slightly. Momentum still to the downside for copper in the short term. We've got COPX just flagging basically sideways here, which looks good to move higher. Kind of the divergence there between COPX and potentially the futures pricing. Iron ore moving sideways, doing the double bottom thing, still doing it in this big expanding megaphone pattern. We've got aluminum up 0.6%, not too bad, but the momentum still to the downside. Be patient. Nickel up 0.72. Right on, trying to put in looks like a bottom pattern or move at least sideways. Bottoming. Mu up 0.23%. I do like it down here up against support. And that support level is that blue line going across. That is where I like it. Emerging markets down just a little bit. We had stronger yields on the long end. And the dollar was stronger, so no surprise here that it's just moving sideways. KRE moving sideways as well. It's just holding on in this zone there. We've got TAN down a little bit. Momentum's definitely to the downside. Don't see a turn yet. We've got lithium getting some life into it, popping 3% higher, but the momentum is still to the downside. It could be a double bottom. We'll see if that is the case. REMX up 3% as well. Pretty big bullish engulfing here. Looking for a potential move higher in the short term. Baltic Dry Index down 2.38%, but still above all the support and still making higher lows. So it looks okay to move up. XHB looking like it's getting a little heavy here, and maybe we pop out and head lower here to the downside. We'll see. I don't want to jump on that yet and say that we've broken out, but it does look a little bit like it's right on support. But again, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Russell 2000 down a little bit, kind of towards the upper end of this resistance channel, trend line, I should say, and it's been squeezing up in this pattern there. S&P 500 still going higher, and it is up just a teeny bit, and we'll see if this momentum can continue. We've got NASDAQ also up, and momentum still to the upside, surprisingly, is what I'll say. SMCI down just a little bit today, down 1.4%, still trading sideways and holding on. We've got NVIDIA also getting a little bit of a bounce today. Again, guys, if I were to look at this, this still has momentum to the downside. Still looks like we could go lower. Just looking at both of those. Bitcoin moving kind of momentum to the downside. We'll see if it continues. This is a bounce here, and we'll see what the next couple of trading sessions have in store for us and go in either direction here. But momentum on the longer term is downward. Ethereum moving sideways. And again, we're just moving on sideways. I mean, this looks good from this perspective. We had a big move here. Could be kind of like a flag pattern or some falling wedge, but we'll see. I'd like to see some green army show up here in the corner for me to say that that will be the case, much like this big pullback here. And then the bullish engulfing, there's your buy patterns right there to move on up. We don't have that yet, so still just consolidating to the downside. But that's what I've got for today. Thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website. We've got a Sunday question and answer session coming up this weekend, 5 p.m. again. And we'll go next week after that will be a Saturday session. So Sunday at 5 is the next one this week, or weekend, I should say. And I'll catch you guys there. See ya.